I've got the horn nocks done there. They're not polished up or anything, but they're on there. And the tips have had to be slimmed considerably to get that done. Brace heights, not fully up there, but reasonable. Absolute pig to string it. I had to get some assistance. Let's have a tentative look, see if the tips are moving around a bit further. I suppose there's not much more strain on the bow now, because I did have it at a low brace last time. Okay, it's not looking too bad. Still creaking and popping. Yeah, you see we're 100 at 21 now. I think it was about 100 at 19. So just easing off the tips a bit, putting the horn nocks on. That's going to be 2 inches of draw. I mean, I ended up tapering, it was very wide. I ended up rasping it away back to about here, quite a bit off the sides and the tips and round in the corners. So yeah, I mean, I don't want to do too much. I'm going to leave it braced for a fair bit of time. I might exercise it some more. I'll review the video, just do the arithmetic. 100 divided by 21 equals 4.76 times 32, 152. So we're getting pretty close. Assuming we want 130, there's 20 pounds to come off, which is, you know, quite a healthy amount to rasp off, but we're getting pretty close. Someone's scratching away on my target boss again. Do you want to say hello, puss? No, I don't. Bugger off, leave me alone. Right, I've rasped off a bit more, and while I was at it, I thought it'd be interesting to take some measurements on the bow. Now, I'm not a great one for measurements, but I marked every 6 inches and just did some measurements. Now, the odd thing is, the lower limb is slimmer all the way down than the upper limb. Now, that flies in the face of all the measurements on the Mary Rose bows and the commonly agreed idea that the lower limb should be stiffer. But just because it's thinner doesn't necessarily mean it's not stiffer. So the question is, do I go by the measurements and rasp a millimetre off all the way down the upper limb, or do I believe my eyes and carry on tillering by eye? And why did I measure it anyway? Well, the point was, I was just looking to see how even the taper was all the way down, and I found a couple of thick points where, you know, it didn't taper as much. You're looking at roughly 1.5 millimetres every 6 inches, but it increases at the tip, and it's only a rough guide. But if you find a place where it's not tapering at all, then you need to take a bit of action. So it's really just a bit of a checking the eyeballs, because there's a couple of points where it looks quite thin on one side of the bow, but on the other side it doesn't. So you always have to be careful of that. Like here, it's a bit thin here, but over the other side it's a bit fatty. You've just got a localised dip in the sapwood there. It's quite a nice groove actually. Anyway, we'll have another pull, and we'll see if I've got the bottle to pull it a little bit further. I didn't want to go right back to 130 if I hadn't checked a few things. It's the old slow and steady. It's no good checking it after it's exploded. So anyhow, but the measurement thing I thought was quite interesting. But let's have a look at it. I mean, to me that lower limb isn't looking weak. So the fact that it's thinner isn't worrying me. It gets a bit nervy at this point. That was a bit more, nearly 110. It's about 115 at 24. That's probably getting pretty close. You'll notice I've bottled out again, because I want to look at the video. That's the point of taking the video. 115 divided by 24 equal times 32, 153. I don't seem to have made a blind bit of difference. Anyway, I've pulled it back a bit further. Let's take it to 120 at least. It's difficult with a big bow. You can remove what you think is quite a lot of wood, and it doesn't seem to make a lot of difference. This is hard work. That's hard work. Just about got it to 120. I'm feeling that on my shoulders now. But of course I'm not pulling 120, I'm pulling 60. But it's at a slightly strange angle. I think that will do for now. I'll review the video. Just have a look. That gives you an idea of the brace height. She's looking a bit chubby around here still. I'll let my fingers do the measurements. Yeah, there you go. That's a classic illustration of a point that looks thin that side, but is looking thicker that side. And you see I put a luffer leaf there. I don't know if you'll pick that up. There's some remaining cambium, and that will just flick off. So you can see the bow is stretching there, it is working. That'll probably do for today.